Max.
Polly, I'm Luke. Nice to meet you. How you doing? I know these guys as well, so.
Okay.
This is just for you. This is.
Yeah.
This is just.
We'll do selfies after.
Yeah, we're doing a big group.
Selfies go on the side.
Right, we all good for the camera?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, well, thank you very much, guys, for turning up. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, guys, over the next sort of 15-20 minutes, I'll be talking to you guys about how you guys can find your why, find your reason to get up in the morning, and how you can apply that to something you need to achieve in life, and it gives you that extra incentive to get it done. Oh, hello, right. Sorry.
Very helpful.
Hello, you're right. How you doing? Right. Well, I'll introduce. My name's Luke. I run Famous Fitness. I've just sort of been speaking to the guys, and so over the next sort of 15-20 minutes, what we're talking about is how to find your why in whatever you do in your life, because the power of why can push you through a lot of barriers and a lot of obstacles. So the way it's going to work out, I'm just going to give you an example of how the power of why brought someone from being a nobody to a somebody. Talk a little bit about what whys I have, why I have my whys, and then more importantly, how you guys can find your whys and why it's important to have your whys and it can drive you forward. So to start off with, hello guys, all right there, take a seat. Nice to meet you right there. Hello guys, how are you going? All right, nice to meet you. Take a seat please guys, thank you. So the first one to talk about an example of someone who used the power of their why to get through some obstacles and setbacks. So this gentleman is now a household name, but when they very first started off, they got booed off stage their first comedy gig, and at the age of 15 they had to get a job as a janitor to help their parents put food on the table. This is also the same person who later on in the career will go on to earn tens upon tens of millions of dollars per film. And this was back in the 90s. This is how powerful knowing your why can be. But what this gentleman did is he got himself a check, and he wrote a check out for $10 million, and he dated the check Thanksgiving 1995. But he wrote this check at the beginning of the 90s. So about 4 or 5 years before it, he conditioned his mind through all the setbacks, through all the obstacles he'd have to go through. That $10 million is what he wanted to achieve out of getting through all those setbacks. Then it came to Thanksgiving 1995, and this same gentleman got offered a role, and the fee was exactly the same amount as he put in that check 5 years ago. It was for $10 million. The film he got casted for was Dumb and Dumber, and the actor was Jim Carrey. Now, when you think of Jim Carrey, your immediate thought would be sort of Golden Globes, Oscars, all the accolades, all the awards. But if you'd sort of say he got booed off stage his first gig and he had to work as a janitor to help his parents put food on the table, you just wouldn't put the two characters together. But that's the power of his why. So he conditioned his mind that through all the failed movie productions, through all the rejected scripts, and all the comedy sketches that didn't just quite make it, he was willing to battle through that so he could earn that $10 million a movie to then help his family and put food on the table as well. Well, he put a lot of food on the table, $10 million for you as well. So that's how we get it. So he conditioned his mind that he was willing to put up with the failures so he could get that big success. And whatever journey you're on, there's always more failures than success. But as long as success is the last part of it, then it's happy days. Don't let failure be the last part, because that means your journey's finished and you never want that to happen. So what am I why? Why do I get up in the morning and why do I do what I do? Well, the main one, as it should be for everyone, is just so you can smile and laugh every day. I think that's the most important thing to do. I enjoy helping people, and the way I help people is through fitness. And I absolutely love it when someone during a session has achieved something they didn't think they could have done, or even over, say, like an 8, 12, 16-week period, they actually sit back and look, wow, I actually managed to do that. I said, well, yeah, you did. Sometimes you just got to make the jump. I like spreading the message when I speak to people, saying to them that it doesn't matter where you are now, all that matters is where you want to be in the future. But to get there, you're going to have to start working now, and you're going to have to act. So when I speak to new people and they're inquiring about fitness, I do like to ask them, how long have you been wanting to do something like this? And the times do fluctuate quite a bit. So some people have thought of it just afternoon and bang, they've gone for it and they're giving me a call. Some people have waited about 6 to 9 months just to find out, just to inquire. So it's great that they're there now, but just think of where they could have been had they acted when they first thought about them 6 and 9 months ago. They'd have been a completely different person. So if there's anything you need to do in your life, or you have to do in your life, and you know it's going to have a positive impact, go and do it. You have to go and do it, because in 6 and 9 months' time, you'll be looking back saying to yourself, I'm glad I did that, I'm glad I made the jump, and I'm glad I took the risk. However, there's also the other side of that coin as well. where you've got the opportunity to do something, you don't take it. Same duration, 6-9 months, you look back, but your language is very different. And instead of saying you're glad, you say, I wish I gave it a go. I wish I made the jump. And I wish I took a chance. Never be a wisher. You'll always be someone who's glad they do this stuff, because you never look back with any regrets then, because you've gone and done everything as well, okay? But the main reason why I do what I do is because I made a promise to something very special. That's a promise I'm going to keep all the way through. So next we're going to talk about why I have my whys, and in the next topic, you guys will be discussing how you guys can find your why and the power of it as well. So it was the end of 2014. Famous Fitness had been running just under a year, and it was Boxing Day. I was running the family's house, having a bit of bubbling sweet, left over some sort of Christmas meal. PT's got to treat himself every now and then as well. We were the Premiership football was, I think it was Manchester United, Newcastle. And it was around the family, and we got a phone call. And this phone call was from a doctor up in Bradford. And the doctor on the phone was explaining to me that my 2-year-old son was dying and that he was passing away. He was saying that his heart had collapsed and one of his lungs had sort of stopped working. So I told the family what had happened. We all sort of got our thoughts together and took a deep breath. We started getting our bits and bobs and to make our way up to Bradford to go and see him. And I was outside by the car, just catching my breath back. And there was one more phone call. I wasn't there at the time, and all I remember hearing in the house was, "Where's Luke? Where's Luke? Where's Luke?" And I just knew what happened. The phone call had been from the hospital, telling my family that we've unfortunately lost our little boy. Our little boy Tommy just passed away. So, and when we sort of heard that, we sort of sat down, got our thoughts together, and then sort of said, we're still going to go to Bradford, we'll go up there and we're going to see the rest of the family there. Then we started going to Bradford, about 4 or 5 hour journey. It was snowing, it was absolutely nuts. It was a journey up there. Myself, I was all over the place. I was waking up, I was crying, going back to sleep again, just back and forth all the time. But then I remember saying to my sister that I just had to do it. And she says, "What do you mean?" Because I have to go out and do it. And it was very hard to get my thoughts right at that time, all the emotions that were going on. People calling up, trying to find out what's going on. And I sort of said to her, I've got to do it for my little boy. I feel like I have to go out and do it for my son. I have to show him that it's not the end for myself, it's the start of something. But I'm going to have to go out and fight a few demons first to go out there and sort of flourish. Then we came to the day of the funeral. And that's what video Simon Cowell moment is. It's all right. Then we came to the day of the funeral a couple of weeks later, and I had probably the most bitter-sweet feeling I ever have had, and I ever would like to have as well. So we had the funeral, and it was a fantastic service, fantastic ceremony.
Do you want this shut? I'm conscious of a bit of noise out there. Do you want
Yeah,
this
if you
shut?
like, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
Might not be able to hear very well.
That's right.
Do you want the aircon on? Okay. There you go.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, cocktails, guys. So we did the service for Tommy, and you had very much a bittersweet feeling. So I had to went up on stage and said a few words for him, and then when I sat down, it was very much a sort of feeling of being very sort of proud and very happy I went and did it, but also still very devastated for the reason why I had to go up initially to do it. But it's one of the things, even though it was difficult to do, I now look back saying, I'm glad I did that. I will never ever look back saying, I wish I did that, or I wish I made that jump. And that's how powerful it can be, to not be a wisher, but to be a glad, be someone who's glad and do what they do. So I will share with you just the last part of the speech I did at Tommy's funeral, because there's one line in it, it just set everything off, and it was like the snowdrop for the avalanche it was. So I said a little story for Tommy, and my closing comments were, when I cry, I'll cry for you. When I smile, I'll smile for you, and when I laugh, I will laugh for you. Your body may not be with me, but your spirit will forever be. It was an honour to be your father, and it was a privilege to have you call me daddy. I will live my life to make you proud, and when my time on this earth is finished, I will see you again. But not yet, my son, not yet. So I walked over, gave his coffin a kiss, went to sit back down, took a big, deep breath. But it was just that one line, I will live my life to make you proud. I will live my life to make you proud. It just stuck with me, and it's all I could think about. It's all I could think about. And it just ignited a flame inside me. And it's taken a couple of years for it to warm up. But that was the ignition. That was the igni. That was the start of it. That's where it all came from. And that's brought me to where I am today now. So next of all, guys, we're going to talk about to you guys how you guys can sort of find your why. So I wanted to tell you why with myself, just so it puts in context of why I'm getting up and why I'm telling people to focus on their whys and to go out and achieve things and not just wish things to happen, but go out there and actually action them. So for you guys, if you're looking to have a target or like a goal in mind, what you need to think about is that is there anything in your life right now that you need to change or you have to change? So if you do, then that's what you want. So let's say, for example, is to lose weight and pick up a number. Let's say it's 10 pounds. So people look and say, I want to lose 10 pounds, but you find out it's the same 10 pounds they've lost over and over. And it's the same, because there's no connection there. There's no lust for it. There's no urge to keep that 10 pounds because there's no other perks to it. It's just, oh, it's just 10 pounds. Well, why 10 pounds? Like, well, that's my favourite number. I don't know really. There's no meaning behind it. So you know it's a difference of, right, okay, I just want to lose 10 pounds. And the example I'll give you now is when I spoke to someone, we did a bit of PT and she wanted to lose 10 pounds. Same scenario, on and off all the time. So we dug a little bit deeper, got really down to the emotions. So, okay, well, why do you want that 10 pounds? We dug a little bit and it came out that she had lower back pain. So I thought, well, 10 pounds off you, that will help ease the pressure. I thought, nice little tick there. And then she started to get a little bit more open and she said, well, she actually tires when she plays with like 3 or 4 kids, all close, same age. And she gets too tired when she plays with them and she doesn't have that level of affection that she wants because she feels a bit embarrassed. Okay, again, that's another why. And then she really opened up a bit. I was told her to stop here. She sort of said her and her husband aren't that physical, and I was like, well, that's not my area. I'm doing certain things as well. So she sort of said, I said, well, why aren't you comfortable? She goes, well, I'm not comfortable in my body. Like, I'm not comfortable taking my clothes in front of my husband. So that physical relationship has suffered. Okay, well, fine. So we started off just with the 10 pounds. Very, very boring, very dreary. But same 10 pounds, but let's add a bit of emotion to it. So your back pain's going to go. How would that feel? Would that feel lovely? Right. You're going to have a better relationship with your kids because you won't tire so quickly and you can play with them longer. How is that going to feel? I'll give anything to have that. Brilliant. Tick. Right, your husband, you want to be physically more active with your husband, but your weight's pushing you back. How would it feel to be more physically active with your husband? It would feel amazing. Right, there we go. So we've got the 10 pounds, that's what you want. But then the whys around it are so powerful. Getting rid of your back pain, having a better relationship with your child, with your children, and have a better relationship with your... Still the same 10 pounds. Still the same 10 pounds somewhere down the road, but your why is there. And it's your why that will get you to go out and do those extra training sessions, and it's your power of the why that will make you say no to the junk food and the kebabs as well. It honestly pushes you all the way through. So the other reason why you need to know your why and have a commitment to it, I believe, is because over time you'll come across something, this is what I've labelled it as, called the golden rule. Some people have different terms for it. It's something myself I've only found recently. The beginning of the year was very sort of strange time for myself because we sort of came over to sort of the crossover period where our little boy Tommy would have been passed away longer than he was with us. It took a bit of time for my head to sort of come around it, but then I was sort of thinking about all the things that happened in the last sort of couple of years, and it just sort of finally clicked with myself. I was thinking of all the counselling that I had to do during the first year he was gone, all the friends who I thought were there to support me, and all of a sudden they weren't there, that they were gone, and you have to accept that people aren't there who you thought would be there. And of course, losing my little boy now, so I was thinking of all those things over the last couple of years, and it just clicked. And I said to myself, yeah, but you're still here, and you're still trying, and you're still fighting. You haven't just given up. And then that was it for me. So the golden rule, I believe, is this, and it's regardless of how many times I fall down, I will always rise once more. Regardless of how many times I fall down, I will always rise once more. And it's only by being 100% committed to my why, which was to live my life to make Tommy proud, I was able to come across that golden rule. And now because I have that commitment to my why, and I have that affiliation to the golden rule, I will always get up once more when I fall down. Regardless of it, I will always get up. And that's how powerful it can be. So guys, just to kind of sort of wrap it up in closing, remember why you do what you do. It's always important to understand why you're out doing things and why you're out fighting the fights and battling the battles as well, okay? The other important thing is that you have to try. You have to go out and you have to try. Some of you guys might be on a nutrition diary now or on a weight plan. If you're the type of person who's losing half a pound, even if it's quarter pound a week, don't worry about it because you're still losing more weight than those people sitting on the sofa doing nothing, making excuses for why they can't do anything. So even though it's small amounts, you're still trying and you're still doing it. And it's so important to try because it's when trying stops, failure begins. And it's when failure begins, success ends. So you must always try. You must always go out and try. But if you can battle through the adversities, there's one thing I can very much sort of guarantee. If you can overcome obstacles that a year ago, 2 years ago, you would have fallen at, you would have failed at, you would have stumbled at, if you can battle through them now, I can guarantee one day you wake up and you'll be very surprised at the person you've become, because you realise that you are able to win things and that you can win battles, and that it's not the end of the world if you do lose, because you've had so many victories, because you have fought through it and you have battled through it. I've made my commitment to my why, and through that I've learned the golden rule, which I believe to be, regardless of how many times I fall, I will always rise once more. And I encourage everyone here to do the same. And I'm extremely grateful for everyone here giving me a chance to say so. Thank you very much.
Well done, mate.
Thank you guys. Cheers, Dad. Cheers, bye.